Your call is being recorded now. So, my dear students, so good morning to all of you. So, today's topic is a bit different, and today we are going to focus our attention on BA second year or BSc second year compulsory English, the prose section, the word syllabus. And in this section, you have one of the lectures, one of the lessons written by Mulk Anand entitled The Importance of English. So our focus is made on the importance of English in this lecture. So the importance of English in India and its impact on literature. So what are the views of Mulk Anand in this regard? Let's focus our attention on this. And as you know that English is internationally spoken and English has almost colonized our minds and how it creates a great impact on literature. So let's focus our attention. The sun is coming, so who's this? Or Sachin? Okay. Importance of English in India and its tremendous impact on literature. So English language in India has a long and early history. Actually, it started with the association of the East India Company during the reign of Mughal Emperor Jahangir. The East India Company became the ruler of our country and took the entire nation under their dominance. It is during that time they realized that if English education can be initiated in India, they can easily manage petty clerks for easy administration. Hence, they started opening English medium schools and colleges and laid the foundation for ICS, Indian Civil Service Examination. So this is quite clear that why English is to be learned, why English is made mandatory, why English is compulsory for us, why it's not optional, why it is not a matter of choice. Suppose you say today that, sir, I don't want to learn your lessons, poetry and grammar from compulsory English. I'm fed up of all these things. I want to learn my own regional language. But still the government wants you to learn all these things because the fact is that much of the precious literature is printed in English and it is internationally spoken, and you will have your natural international exposure. So that's the reason. But what is the motive behind introducing English to Indians during the British domination or dominance? What's the reason? So generally it is said that the East India Company became the ruler of our country and our country was under the dominance. And it is during that time they realized that if English education can be initiated in India, they can easily manage petty clerks for easy administration. They taught us English because they want the clerks. They wanted the work to be smoothly conducted. So that is one of the reasons. And their administration would go very smoothly. So that's the reason they later on started English medium schools, colleges, and actually founded the ICS, that is Indian Civil Service exam as well. So steadily in the course of time, we can see the gradual growth of English language, English literature, that English started gaining its popularity. English became international. It's very popular in India. And from the language of the classy and elites, it started spreading to all the sections of the society. All the sections of the society, they started feeling of seeking English education. So this is, English is not meant only for the aristocratics. English is not meant for the class people or elites. Actually, this was introduced to almost all the sections of the society. English as a language has high influenced the literature of India. So Indian literature has drastic changes, radical changes due to English language. The history of Indian writing in English dates to the British Raj in India. So you can understand Indian writing in English and from where the Indian writers started writing about their specific condition during the colonized period, once they learned English, right? So here the focus has been made on the writing of English and its direct or indirect, conscious or unconscious impact on the Indians. So talking about the history of Indian writing in English, which dates to the British Raj in India, the Indian writing in English can be compared to an old withering rhizome which has regenerated its limbs in the modern era. The new samplings are thriving with green leaves and twigs to be enjoyed by all, not only in the Indian subcontinent, but across the globe as well. So everybody was very curious to know something more about English. So if I ask you a very simple question, as there is the subject, what's the difference between English and the English? English means language. The English is English people, British. So actually, if I ask you a very simple question regarding to this issue, that how many books are written on grammar in India? In India, you can see thousands of books written on grammar, because everybody who knew something about English wanted to write something. Everyone wanted to simplify English language in his own ways. So Toru Datta was the first Indian poet to write in English. Toru Datta. And poets like Henry Louis Vivan Diozio and Sarojini Naidu highlighted patriotic sentiments in their poems. Rabindranath Tagore became the first Asian to be bestowed with the Nobel Prize in the year 1913 for his magnum opus. And you know, Gitanjali, a book of devotional lyrics, Tagore wrote in Bengali and himself translated the book in English. The trio, that is Mulk Raj Anand, Rajara, and R.K. Narayan, took the baton of Indian writing in English and much forward. So these are the writers. They attempted to write the conditions of that particular time, expressed realism most of the times through their opus, literary opus. The entry of this trio in literary scenario is India escalated the genre to great heights. So English regains its popularity, attains its international reach from the Indian perspective is basically due to the writers like Sarojini Naidu, Rabindranath Tagore, Mulk, Anand Raja Rai, R.K. Narayan, and many others. So according to Mulk Anand, so let's see the views. What are the views regarding to the status of English? So many English newspapers like the Bengal Gazette, the Bombay Herald, the Madras Courier. So these are the names of a number of English newspapers entered as the Bengal Gazette, the Bombay Herald, the Madras Courier, came to gratify the need of the infuriated youth during the freedom struggle. Actually, such English newspapers were needed at that particular moment of time in order to infuriate the youths to actively participate in the freedom struggle of India. So these English newspapers linked the entire nation with a common feeling of national spirit and bonded them together with a common agenda of nation's freedom. So what is important regarding to this is that what is the use of these newspapers? So newspapers is actually very essential at that particular moment of time because it talks about the nationalism. It talks about the integration. It talks about the unification of the entire nation. It talks about the common or the general feelings of the people, and it helps to maintain the national spirit, the national team, right? So that's the important thing. So ubiquity in this regard is essential as far as the Indian point of view is concerned. So here these newspapers bonded all these people together with a common agenda of nation's freedom. So at that time, there was only one agenda. So what was the agenda? The agenda was that India must be free from the clutches of the British people. So at that time, it was something like that. So let's see what happens in the course of time. That the Indo-Anglican literature in modern times is thrived by new and progressive minds who are created a benchmark of themselves, irrespective of cultural boundaries. So one literature emerged at the time, that is the Indo-Anglican literature. So this literature was actually thrived by new and progressive minds at that particular moment of time. So wherein there we can see the amalgamation of the culture. So who are creating a benchmark for themselves, irrespective of cultural boundaries. So these writers have successfully established themselves amongst the top class writers in the world. So the writers have brought a couple of accolades home, proving the fact that Indian writing in English is a stable and successful genre. So one stream of learning initiated, that is Indian writing in English. So Indian writers started writing in English as far as its popularity is concerned. The famous contemporary writers of the genre are Anita Desai, Salman Rushdie, Arundhati Roy, Kiran Desai, Bharati Mukherjee, Jhumpa Lahiri, Arvind Adiga, and others. So many writers were there like that. So as we have named a few writers here, just I have mentioned a few names, that is Toru Datta, Sarojini Naidu, Rabindranath Tagore, Mulk, Raja Rai, R.K. Narayan, right? Anita Desai, Salman Rushdie, Arundhati Roy, right? Kiran Desai, Bharati Mukherjee, Jhumpa Lahiri, Arvind Adiga, and many others. So there are many great poets, writers in Indian writing in English. So English education in India was initiated with the sole purpose of modifying British interest to inspire Indians with the Western thoughts, which sooner or later were meant to fortify foreign supremacy. So actually, there is the domination of the ideas, how the minds, Western ideas affected the Eastern. So English education in India was started with a motive of modifying British interests to inspire Indians. So the inspiration to Indians was essential. The motivation to Indians was essential at that particular moment of time. So with the Western thoughts, Indians needed to be inspired by the Western thoughts. And there is the fortification of the foreign supremacy. Lord Macaulay, you know the name, British historian and politician, strongly believed in anglicizing the education system in India. Lord Macaulay was a British historian and a politician. So the education system established in India. Macaulay's Minute on Indian Education, published in 1835, is considered as an important account in this regard. It's very important to understand the Minute on Indian Education. His ideas were based on an assumption of the intrinsic authority of British ethnicity, a vital remark which is documented in Macaulay's Minute. So we talk about the authority of British ethnicity and many more things were actually documented in the minutes. So one quotation is here, I would like to quote. The most important quotation is here from Macaulay and Young from page number 227. I quote here, that is, we must at present do our best to form a class of interpreters between us and the millions whom we govern, a class of persons, Indian in blood and color, but English in taste, in opinions, in morals, and in intellect. So look at the words and its interpretation, its meaning, its coded meanings. Okay, so I would like to reread it. Please focus your attention on the words so that you can understand it exactly. I don't want to explain it so elaborately because it has already been known to you. You know, you have already experienced it. It's not something generations gap and so much of time we are talking about a very recent past. It's not like that. Just we are in the 21st century, right? And it's not a remote past. Even 50 years, it's very near. Actually, you have experienced and you have learned history as well. So we are having a historical background regarding to English language and its growth and how it's created a tremendous impact on the minds of the Indians and how it radically changed Indian literature at large. So I repeat this quotation here, I quote, we must at present do our best to form a class of interpreters between us and millions whom we govern. A class of persons, Indian in blood and color, but English in taste. Indian in blood and color and English in taste, in opinions, in morals, and in intellect. Macaulay and Young, 2027. Unquote. India is a land of multiple languages. As you know, that India is a land of multiple languages are there in India. And it's very difficult to understand each and every language in India. Okay, isn't it? Uh, in every state, you come across a new language. Okay. And the language has its own standard. It's not low, it's not high. All right. Every language is important because actually language is nothing but a dress of thought, according to Samuel Beckett. So language is a dress of thought, right? That is a medium of expression. It's a system of communication. So here, that's why India is multilingual. Multilingual in the sense that it's very difficult to learn each and every language, the regional languages, the dialects. That's why we can term it as a land of multiple languages, multilingual. And this gave birth to a new literary genre where Indian writers started using the medium of English to satisfy the Indian readers, and the theme and the background of their works are highly indigenous. So actually, India is a land of multi-languages. That's why English has become a second language in India, especially. So again, there is a question of how to acquire the second language. Okay, how to acquire the second language. There is one more another issue regarding to this. Right, how to acquire the second language. So as far as my understanding of the language is concerned, I think that there is no teacher in the world who can teach you English. The meaning of this sentence is very different as far as my thinking is concerned. Because English is not taught, English is not learned, English is acquired. Not English, any language is being acquired. So there is the acquisition of language by every teacher and the student. So the language is acquired. So that's why such sort of ambience needs to be created in order to acquire English language. So there is another debate, much debate in language. That's why whether there must be the use of the mother tongue while teaching English or not. In every state, in every country, the same problem. Should we use the mother tongue to know the other tongue? That's the big question. So as far as my thinking is that English is to be acquired. There has to be a specific ambience which needs to be created, and much more focus must be given to listening skills, only listening. And rest of the things will follow, listening skills. And in this fashion, you will acquire the language. So mother tongue is also essential, but its usage needs to be only 10% or 5%. So the rest of the attention needs to be given to the to English as a second language. So here we are talking about English language, and while talking about English language, it's very essential for us to talk about the emergence of a new literary genre, the emergence of new Indian writers at that time, because English was the only medium of expression, medium of communication for Indians to satisfy the Indian readers. So the literature was written in order to satisfy the Indian readers, the theme, the background of their works. So everything was highly indigenous. So here, I would like to talk much about English language in this context is that the English language has its demarcations. The English language has its limitations as well, because English language is limited to the educated class only at that time. And majority of the rural people in India still uses the vernacular mode. English was not there. So the recent trend underlines the fact that exposure to the English language is a sort of status symbol in our country, and modern parents consider it a privilege to send their children to English medium schools. So that's why at that particular moment of time, so many parents wanted their children to seek education in English medium schools to retain the status. So English was considered to be a status symbol. It's a manifestation of a standard or a status. So the recent trend underlies the fact that exposure to English language is a kind of status symbol in our country, and modern parents consider it a privilege to send their children to English medium schools. So Indians, in spite of their efforts, are still struggling to master English language. So here at that particular moment of time, the Indians attempted to spend much of their time to master over English language and literature. So after 73 years of Indian independence at that time, so we can almost say that near 50 and more than that, the time has spent after Indian independence, English language acquisition still remains a challenge in our country. So these are some observations made on English language. So I request all of you to read the original text as well by Mulk Anand, The Importance of English Language, the importance of English. And you do one thing: when you return to your study room, please get the original book, read the original textbook, and make your own observations, analyze the text, interpret the text, and make your own notes and be successful in your life. Okay, thank you very much for attending my lecture. Your lecture is over, the class is over, the lesson is also over, and I request all the students to focus much more attention on the text and accumulate the knowledge in that regard. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Thank you, sir.